Where I'm sitting today is a very special place. It's a place where the Aboriginal people have lived for a long time. In our Dreamtime story, we have learnt that our Creator created the land. And it's also a special place because we can see lots of landforms and we see beautiful islands, and the mountains are part of our dreaming story. And they're very special to Aboriginal people because they were also places that Aboriginal people could see, and they would follow these tracks and not get lost. The Aboriginal people were the custodians. They learned all about the trees, about the rocks. They learned about the different seasons, fish. They learned about all the species that were part of the landscape. They learned how to use plants, how to shape trees, and those trees are like traffic signs in the city. But these trees are out there in the nature, and when they flower, they leave this beautiful coloured flowers on the trees, and the Aboriginal people followed those tracks. Even at night time they didn't get lost, because at night they'd sit down with their elders and tell stories, and they'd look up into the night sky and they'd know how constellation stories connected Aboriginal people to the landscape. And so it was a wonderful, wonderful relationship. And down here at Mystery Bay, as you can see all the rocks, it's part of an ancient volcano, and these places are very special. They also have places that have a lot of springs, and springs are very important places for Aboriginal women. Our stories, our elders teach us and our women teach us. They come and they sit here and they tell us about Gulaga. They tell us about Gulaga's 2 children, and they tell us about the landscape and what the land is telling them and teaching us. And so they have to look after these places even today. It helps us to survive, helps us to understand what foods are important, helps us to understand the weather conditions. So for instance, when we look at a place called Narooma, the real name was called Narooma. When the wet season, when the rain was coming and the water comes into the atmosphere, there's a little seaweed that grows in the Waganga Inlet. And when it would swell up, they knew that the rain was coming, and so it acted like a barometer. I have a story that was handed down. As you can see, we have a face up on the rock. A young girl from this tribe fell in love with a whale. And the word for whale down here is Mori Ira. And in the evening, when nobody knew, she would get up on the top of the rock and she'd sing this beautiful song. But they knew they could never ever be together because they were from different tribes. So Mori Ira would come, and as she's singing, he would hear it, and then it was time to go. The Aboriginal people learned all those things, so they knew how to live in the land. So they learned a lot of things that were important to survival.